Hi, everybody. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I think if you were here earlier, you already know who I am. I'm not important anyway in this panel. So here on to my right, we have Dolev from dWallet, and then we have Akash from 3MI. This is an internal joke, sorry. And then we have Michal from Nethermind. And actually, I really believe that it's much easier if they introduce themselves and not only pronounce their names properly, but also say the things that matter about who they are. So yeah, please.
Okay, hello. You pronounced my name perfectly, by the way. Um, so yeah, I'm Dolev. I'm the VP Research at the Wallet Labs. Before that, I was serving in the IDF for 5 years in the National Cybersecurity and Cryptography Unit. 3 years of which I was the cryptography team leader. Within these 3 years, I did manage to integrate into the IDF different worlds of modern cryptography, zero knowledge, MPC. So that was very challenging and fun to do because they are very strict people. And getting new ideas into there was quite challenging, but we got some good ideas there. And yeah, then I went out to the industry and started working at the Wallet Labs. I got there basically because I had good relationships with Scully, the CTO who presented to MPC this morning. We had good work together back in Matsov. And we proceeded to work together at the Wallet Labs, and it's great.
Hello, everybody. I'm Akash, but thinking of rebranding myself as Akash for the Web3 people. I'm head of research at 3MI Labs. We are a research house, all things cryptography, Web3, distributed systems. We are based in Belgium. We are 7 researchers, and none of us are Belgians. And a bit about myself. I have a bachelor's in computer science, a master's in AI, but then I got the blockchain bug like Nihal did. And I got into a PhD in blockchains at KU Leuven with Professor Bart Pernille. Yeah, that's about it. Thanks for having me.
Hi, my name is Michal. So you pronounce my name very well. Thanks a lot. I'm head of research at Nethermind. I think now it's on. Okay. I'm head of research at Nethermind. My background is in cryptography. I did a PhD in cryptography. After my PhD, I went to Tartu to study zero knowledge proofs under supervision of Helger Lipma. After that, I decided to leave academia and joined a blockchain company to work on the zero knowledge proofs in the blockchain space. And in 2022, I joined Nethermind to create cryptography research team. And from that time, the team grew. Now we are no longer focused only on cryptography. We have 4 teams now. So we have the cryptography research team that focuses on this fundamental research in cryptography. We have research solutions teams that takes cryptographic building blocks and create more complex protocols out of it. We have DeFi research team that deals with everything related to risks. And we have protocol research team that helps blockchains and L2s to be economically secure.
Thank you for that, all 3 of you. So maybe to kick off, a question that I think is quite important, which is, as researchers and cryptographers overall, you of course have to have a specific mindset, and this is a work of passion that requires a lot of persistence, and a lot of times it also becomes a little bit of an individualist approach. But at the end of the day, you have your own ambitions, but working for companies that have their own goals that are, at the end of the day, for profit, how do you essentially find a way to still be able to be passionate about your work while at the same time not necessarily following it blindly, but for a purpose that is tied to a company specifically?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. From my experience, actually, oftentimes the financial considerations and management restrictions can lead to interesting cryptographical problems, actually, and it can make actually the problem more interesting. So in the 2PC MPC work you saw beforehand, there were a lot of restrictions that led to some very nice design concepts, and it's really fun actually, and I really enjoy combining the two. And for now, I didn't see any problem with that. As long as we work in a field that we're passionate about, we will always find a way to get ourselves doing interesting stuff, and it shouldn't be mutually exclusive.
Well, fortunately for us, our passions turn out to be profitable, so that usually helps. But we're actually more focused on the research itself. So our clients are the ones that are profiting off the research. And our main passion is actually solving hard problems. That's what drives us as a company. We spend hours arguing with each other, coming up with better ideas to make products much, much better. Especially like, for example, I don't know if anybody here plays cricket. There's a very hard ball called the Yorker, and that's usually meant to get you out. And we enjoy getting Yorkers because that really brings us together, and we then are passionate about solving those problems.
So in Nethermind, we try to build like open opt-in world, and this vision is like super inclusive, and that actually makes for us very easy to find partners to work with other projects. So when a researcher comes to me and tells me, hey, I would like to work on X, then for me it's okay. So where can we find a partner to work on that? Who we can collaborate with? Which project would benefit from that research? And that way you can also build like sustainable like research team, right? By finding partners. Also, Nethermind started as a Ethereum execution layer client, and when you build an execution layer client, it's hard to say it's like for profit. Like it's hard to monetize the clients itself, but when you get this expertise in building such systems, then the clients come, right? Because they want to have like their bespoke solutions, right? And that's how you ensure like the cash flow.
Okay, maybe continuing with you, Michal, just to follow up on this, because you're describing your vision as the individual, but at the end of the day, your roles are leading teams of people that are essentially as passionate about this field as you are. How do you build such a team? How do you build a team that works in harmony, it was working towards the same goal, and while they also have to keep their passion going?
Yeah. So building teams is super difficult because hiring is very difficult now. I think like we are quite in a niche. So even though like Web3 like got a lot of people into cryptography, there is still quite few people with necessary knowledge and qualifications. So hiring is very difficult. But when you have people, I would say like you need to talk with them, like to understand like what they want. Because like in my team, I have researchers that are like purely focused on the research, for example, and they are not interested in like leading teams. But I also have people who are very good researchers, but also enjoy leading teams, like provide like new think about like new research problems and like drive people like to work on them. Yeah. Sorry, one more thing, like what Dolev you said that this real life applicability of some research is also like a big factor, right? Because it is interesting to see your own research being like implemented or like influential for something.
Yeah, right. The fact that we're doing things that are actually in deployment is a gift, I think, and it makes it more interesting and more fun. And you can be more proud of your work when you know that it's actually applicable in the real world, I think. Some cryptographers don't like it. They try to get away from these fields once they get implemented. But in my opinion, it's a gift. I also want to jump in and say that you don't want your team to be too harmonic, and it's interesting to point that out. But I do think that we need at least one person that will ask the hard questions and try to tackle the solutions that are offered to make sure we don't miss anything. And we also want people to think differently and be open-minded and suggest different solutions. And yeah, I have a partner from the unit that also works with us that always does that, and it could be very heartbreaking sometimes, but it's important to do that. But yeah, all in all, we want to have good environment. We want people to be embraced and to be able to build themselves from bottom up, because it is a niche, as you've mentioned. And not everyone understands cryptography. So I think essentially anyone with good math background, maybe even a first degree, with the right training, if he has the right passion to it, and that's something that in crypto you can get a sense of really fast. Like you can see one presentation about garbled circuits and know if you like it or not, I think. I think that's the right path. So you need a good environment, good training, good people, open environment, but you also need critical thinking, and I think that's the right way.
I agree with both the speakers here. Like they made really good points. Now I'm trying to think what I should say. Uh, but I do believe that we're fortunate enough to, like, the initial team of 3ML Labs, we've been working together for years because we were in the same PhD department. So we have found a way to be a team and work cohesively. We recently hired a few more people who, according to you, are critical thinkers. They challenge us a lot, and I personally really enjoy that, because when you have a set mentality in the team of working cohesively, there has to be somebody who questions what you're doing. And we're specifically looking for people like that who question what we do. We also make sure that every week we have a day where everybody can actually work on what they're passionate about, because ultimately that might turn into a product where the cash flow will come out of. So it's a mixture of all these things. I think you have to be open-minded, but you also have to be critical, very critical about the actual research going on.
Okay, cool. That's cool. Maybe I'm going to jump or at least change the order here, because I think it's a good segue into, do you think that the Web3 industry is conducive of what you're describing, meaning that tangibility that you're describing about the things that are being implemented? Do you think that the fact that you are in the doing things in Web3 industry, using essentially your ability, your skill set, your long investment of time in cryptography to something that can actually become tangible, do you think it's a good conducive medium for what you do?
So the reason why I switched to blockchain space and Web3 itself was because I did a master's in AI and data science, and I was not happy about how data is being capitalized on. And I really think that Web3 has opened doors for like a lot of good research in co-ed technologies like computing over encrypted data. What we as a company have been working on together is to actually build on this, I would say, cycle of growth in the community, in security and privacy. And yeah, I am kind of losing train of thought here of what I was trying to say.
Right. I think you're going on the right direction. So essentially, you do think that Web3 is a good medium. It's conducive for what you're doing.
Definitely. I mean, it's not just cryptography, it's also the research in distributed systems. I mean, I think George Denez is here from, and he's going to talk about Mysticeti. Excellent work. And also, we ourselves have been working on something pretty cool with distributed systems. So it's really a culmination of amazing research in cryptography, like the guys at dWallet Labs are doing, and also consensus stuff.
Yeah, I also think most definitely. Wow.
You have a voice.
Yeah. No, but it wasn't like that beforehand. Okay. So yeah, I wanted to say that just as the Web 2 technology boosted cryptography in symmetric cryptography and public cryptography, um, the need for decentralization and Web3, which is believed to be the next generation, which is something that's gonna be orders of magnitude, at least that's what expected to be, orders of magnitude more effective. In turn, also boosts the crypto world. So you have massive advancements in FHE, in consensus domain, MPC domain. All of that essentially comes from Web3 and from also the financial considerations there too. And I think it actually goes inline. So if there's a lot of money, it means that the community is large. It's where the world wants to go, and therefore it's where it should go. It's a good sign, not a bad one. And that's also where dWallets want to be. We want to contribute to Web3, and it actually does mean that we want to contribute to all of these areas in cryptography, and that's what we're planning to do.
Yeah, I can only agree. So for me, it's amazing how development of Web3 speed up development of certain crypto fields in cryptography. So we have massive advancements in zero knowledge, in distributed systems. I think like we see like more and more understanding in the Web3 community that other research branches like algorithmic game theory is also like very important, right? And like people like from that fields also are getting sucked into Web3 into a Web3 world. When I started my PhD studies, my perspective was mostly like, okay, I will stay in academia, right? Because there's not that many jobs out there, and maybe there was not that much interesting for me. But when I was in the mid of my postdoc, I realized that wow, there's actually a lot of going on outside academia. So that's the amazing part. Like when Dan Bonnet made a course at Corsia, I believe in 2022, over a million people subscribe to listen to him talking about cryptography. So yeah, most of these people are not going to be researchers, but that shows the scale of how cryptography was somehow like popularized, right, in the society.
For sure. And I just like to, sorry, I just like to add to that all of us in this room are like at a cusp of something huge. I think we're all doing excellent work. And tying to your earlier question, that's where we, I think, tie in the for-profit nature of this industry and our passion, because the passion about being groundbreaking some new technologies is in itself pretty fulfilling.
Okay, cool. Maybe to expand a little bit, how do you convince a top cryptographer that is skeptical or even cynical, which is I think more common about Web3, to join a team that is working purely on Web3?
Yeah, I think we have such a person in our team. We sucked him in there without mentioning names. But I think the cryptographical problems are very interesting. You just need to look for them. And you get him like that, just like that. So you ask him an interesting cryptographic questions. You don't give him the context, and he starts working on it and thinking. And yeah, and then you tell him what's the application, and then he has nowhere to escape. That's at least my experience.
Yeah, I think it's the combination of a really hard problem that you throw at interested minds, and at the same time they get to see their product in practice and how people react to it. I think it's very satisfying to see that people are actually using this amazing research that they're doing. So it's quite easy actually to pull in really hardcore researchers.
Yeah, I can agree. So there are like the 2 points. You can abstract away the problem, right? Like put blockchain on the side, and on the other hand, like show that, okay, you solve this problem and there will be like practical application of the solution.
Okay, cool. Maybe switching a little bit and asking you, each one of you individually and indirectly to your team as well, each of your teams, like what is one achievement, one breakthrough that you've had with your team that you're the most proud of?
So dWallet Labs is quite a new company. We have many things to come, which I cannot talk about yet. So the project that we're most proud of is what we presented today, the 2PC MPC. I really like the process of it. So it started from a very simple question, at least to me, that we could have solved in a slight adaptation of existing work, the maintainment problem, which for some reason wasn't looked at the time. But then, once we solved that, then Jonathan came in and said, here are problems 2 to 8. Or actually, it was back and forth. So we kept improving it, and we have some additional results to come. But at least along the process, we had a lot of ideas. Everyone participated, and it was very, very fun. And eventually, we got a product, and it's in testnet, and it's very fun to see, and it was great.
I'll be very prompt with this question because actually the work we're doing right now at dWallet Labs, and I mentioned before that it's not just cryptography, but also really huge advancements in distributed systems research. One of the products that we have basically come up with, really, I think it's really cool. I'm very proud of it, but unfortunately I cannot talk about it right now because we're still the next Encrypt. I think we'll talk about it, but this time, yeah.
So I think I will mention two achievements. One more concrete. Our team managed to fill the security gap in Stark's security analysis. So more precisely, we shown that FRI protocol is secure under Fiat-Shamir transformation. And to add to that, we were quicker than Starkware team by like 2 weeks. So I think that's also like big part of this achievement, to be quicker than Starkware on that. And the second achievement is to see like how our team grew, because like a lot of researchers we have now like came to the company as interns with quite little knowledge about cryptography and blockchain, and now they are leaders in their domains.
I'm a bit jealous of the answers Michal gave. So I'm going to talk about the stuff that Tomer itself has been doing from our company. He has been working a lot on like making hash functions really efficient for not just Starkware or Polygon, but also companies like Ulbetana, which are trying to accelerate hardware for like co-ed technologies. So I think we're also very proud of that. It's a more personal effort. That's why I did not mention that 3MI Labs did it, but it's we're still proud of it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, maybe just to conclude, because we're coming to the end of the clock here. Are you actually able to celebrate another team's breakthrough, even if it's something that is competing with you?
We can, because we are very collaborative in nature. So yes.
I think that's easy to say, but I don't like when it happens. But oftentimes we can take it like we saw with DKLS, and we can, lift it for our product as well. So we can build on top of that and utilize observations from previous works to also improve our product. So at the end of the day, the environment is very fruitful, and Ideas come from different directions, and we need to jump in and use them. And it's also nice to see competition. It means that the market has a lot of interest, and that the community is growing, and that we're doing important stuff basically, and not just. It's also interesting, and we're very passionate about it. But it does mean that it's a good field to work in for the world. I don't know.
Well, it's easy for us because we're a research house, so we just try to work with the team that's coming up with the breakthroughs and make their breakthroughs even better.
That's a good strategy.
Nice. Okay, maybe do we have time for one question, or you think it's too? Yeah, one question. Okay. Oh, sorry. Well, thank you guys. I'm sorry I was late again. Thank you. That was quite cool. Very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.